Traditionally, when we're working with our computer, we have a desktop environment. We know where our applications are, we know where our services are, everything's centralized on the machine itself. However, when we're dealing with the cloud, we are handling a management plane. And so the key thing to understand here is that the management plane allows us to interface with essentially machines that we don't own on premise or don't have direct access to, but through API functions over the web, we're able to exchange commands and spin up virtual machines, utilize resources, utilize RAM, storage, whatever it is that's you're utilizing the cloud service for. It, our management console, our management plane is essentially going to be our dashboard, if you will, that's going to allow us to utilize the tools that are available on the cloud. For this walkthrough, we're going to be just kind of high level overview going over AWS, Azure, and DigitalOcean. And you'll notice that the three of them actually kind of have some aspects that are very similar. Uh, I know that maybe directly looking at them, they're very different. Let's see if I can line these up actually all side by side. Not bad. They all seem to fit there. So, really, I just wanted to put them all across on the same plane, kind of next to each other, just to show you some of the similarities and differences. Of course, if you go onto other platforms like Alibaba Cloud or even Google Cloud, um, at the end of the day, let's just focus on the similar things that they have. And the first thing that you'll stand out, that should stand out, is all the services and products that are listed. So you'll see, at least on the left here, DigitalOcean, you have your navigation plane with your projects. You then have your navigation list here for products on the side. When it comes to Azure, it's here posted on the header, and then of course your resources that are listed. This is very similar actually to what's here listed on projects. And then in AWS, similarly as well too, you can see that you have your initial tools. So really what stands out at the beginning are tools, right? The things that they want you to utilize. Now, each one of these will probably have different names for these tools, but at the end of the day, they do the same things. Just as an example, in DigitalOcean, they call virtual machines or virtual servers droplets. Here in Azure, they call them virtual machines. In EC2, you actually have a couple of flavors of different services you can use. You can use Lightsail or EC2, but at the end of the day, they all accomplish the same thing, which is when you make a request to be able to create one of these virtual machines using these products or services, you're essentially utilizing API calls to be able to send over a request to utilize uh, storage hardware that's in a data center. Where are these data centers located? Well, they're kind of all over the world. There's a couple that are listed here in DigitalOcean. There's a couple more here in AWS, but let's just briefly kind of go over this aspect of where your data is going to be stored. I like using Azure for this example because Microsoft has a literal globe that shows the data centers that are available when you're using Microsoft Azure. Oh, keep replaying that intro. Let's go ahead and skip that. And so here in this tool, you can see, and let's just stick to North America here. You have essentially, when we're looking at the legends, your regions, your geographies, your edge zones, and here there's sustainability projects. But the ones we care about here, at least for what we're going over, is this aspect of the regions. Because when we're dealing with a region, that's essentially where the data center is. And then within the zone, there's different data centers within this region that will be characterized as the zone. AWS has something very similar here when you're looking at their dashboard, the management plane, excuse me, or management console. You'll see here you on the top right, you have essentially your regions and your zones. Here you have US Eastern, and that will be in zone one, US East 1, you have US East 2. And then you have the West. So this is your region, the West, and your zone will be US West 1 or US West 2. Now, it's important to note that at least for certain products and services that you use, um, you will be restricted to what kind of tools you can use depending on the regions and zones that you're located in and what services you want to utilize. Um, Now, depending on the cloud platform that you're using, that may not be the case. You can see, at least for AWS, you do have many more zones that you can select. And of course, more products you can select than compared to DigitalOcean, where here your selection for region and zone is really just narrowed down to your droplets or certain virtual machines that you're going to be utilizing. Within Azure as well, you also have your areas, regions, and zones. For example, if we go into creating a virtual machine in Azure, one of the first things that we get asked here is where we want to put this in what region. This option here that we're seeing is essentially our map here of where we want to essentially have our virtual machine. So when we build this, let's say this virtual machine here, we want to put it in US East, then it's going to be located here. And so within this region, there will be some cloud storage and usage that's going to be established in a physical data center. Now, the important thing to note, and I think that's very common with whatever environment you're using, is the billing component. One of the first things we want to get familiar with when we're navigating through the cloud is essentially where our money is going and how we can handle that. So most cloud services are going to have a billing component for you to be able to limit your monthly spending. You'll get a dashboard as to how much you're spending as well too. So this is something that's offered by Azure, DigitalOcean, AWS. Now, some of them have different services. At least with AWS, you do have, for example, cost limiting aspects that you can utilize. So you can put in a limit per month as well as notifications in case you exceed that limit. My note on this would just be aware as to what's established within a free tier. So, for example, in AWS, you have the free tier that's available, and you get 1 year of that. And then after that, there's a couple of services that are free unless you exceed a specific threshold. Um, Azure also has a free demo. DigitalOcean also has, I believe, for free trial is $200 in cloud credits. Just remember that you pay for what you use when you're utilizing you use in what for what you're using in the cloud. So I highly suggest that as you're exploring the cloud and kind of playing around through the dashboard, read through the documentation. And I think that's something very important to note. Any one of these services, as you go along, they all provide information tooltips. They give you essentially guides as to how to utilize specific services. So be sure to kind of explore the information that's available, read the documentation as you're going along. If you're sticking along with the course, we're not going to be doing anything that's going to be charging. Um, as long as you stick within the free tier and specific parameters. And of course, just be aware as to what applications and services you are establishing as we proceed.